Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get going. Story number 1. Fears of war in the Middle East involving Iran and the US have pushed up oil prices, sent the Aussie dollar lower, and given rise to new threats of inflation, dashing hopes of lower interest rates anytime soon.
More than 200 drones and missiles were launched by Iran at Israel over the weekend, the first direct attack from Iran on Israel. And when markets reopen today, oil prices in particular are set to jump sharply. The attacks themselves caused only minimal damage and were made in retaliation for a suspected Israeli strike on Damascus that killed several commanders quite a few weeks ago. Now, most of the projectiles were intercepted. US President Joe Biden condemned the unprecedented assault and said that US aircraft and 2 US destroyers, one of which Washington moved to the region over the past week, had helped intercept the barrage. The UK and France also helped ward off the attack. Biden convened other G7 leaders overnight to coordinate a united diplomatic response to Iran's brazen attack. That's what he called it. Following a request from Israel, the UN Security Council also scheduled an emergency meeting.
Sean, why has this attack from Iran against Israel scared investors so much? And I suppose kind of looking ahead to today, what is going to happen when markets open?
Well, until the weekend, Iran and Israel have avoided direct confrontation, apart from once back in 2018. Everyone condemned it. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, Japan, UK, even Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudis aren't natural friends with Israel, but they condemned this particular attack. The US made it very clear that it is supporting Israel. Iran's a big player in the global oil market, particularly in OPEC. It's also very strategic. That's why traders expect oil prices to surge today. Not good for petrol prices. Higher oil prices will feed through to inflation because they drive up production and transportation costs. They can also drive up expectations for future inflation. Now, geopolitical uncertainty pushes investors to look for safe assets. Think gold, US dollar, that will hurt the Aussie dollar, for example. Bitcoin will come under pressure. All in all, it's going to be a tough few days for markets.
All right, on to story number 2 now. And Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers has hinted at an overhaul of the tax system in an effort to stimulate green manufacturing industries.
Dr. Chalmers said the government is prepared to think about the tax system as a lever to pursue its Future Made in Australia strategy. He was talking to the ABC Insiders program yesterday. He talked about the need to use the tax system to incentivise private investment in Australia. This will be a pillar of next month's budget. Now, there were media reports this morning suggesting it could be some type of business investment allowance to drive capital towards green energy and advanced manufacturing.
Story number 3, major media companies are upset at the prospect of losing $300 million in advertising revenue from a government crackdown on gambling advertising. And now, Sean, they face an even more expensive hit from a possible ban on junk food ads.
Yes, the groups representing the multi-billion-dollar television industry and Australia's biggest advertisers have criticised a study that explored banning or significantly limiting unhealthy food promotion as lacking evidence and unfairly targeting marketing over other factors. The prize here is enormous. Quick service restaurants, think McDonald's, Domino's, KFC, etc., they spend $382 million on advertising a year. Now, last year, the Albanese government funded a feasibility study by academics from the University of Wollongong on ways to restrict junk food advertising and packaging. It suggests the government intervenes to reduce fast food ads, restricting ads on TV between 5:30am and 11pm, limiting unhealthy food marketing through online media as well. Stay tuned, pardon the pun on that one. There'll be plenty more on this one.
Yeah, they certainly will. Story number 4, I love it when we talk about Domino's Pizza because often we're talking about Domino's in Japan, of all places. Now, Domino's wants to nearly double the number of its stores in that country, which is a market that hasn't been a great performer for the fast food group. And it has a goal as well to double the number of stores it has across Asia over the next 9 years.
That would take its stores in the region to 3,000, including 2,000 in Japan. Management also believes there are big opportunities in Germany and France, where the group covers only about 30% of the market. Domino's held an investor day on Friday. It wasn't particularly well received. The share price closed down almost 7%. It's down about 30% this year. CEO Don May has always been a great believer in getting pizzas delivered quickly. Last week, they said that a delivery time of 21 minutes reduces quality by about 12%. So the trick is to get it to the door within 10 minutes. Domino's believes that half of all retail will eventually be delivered to the door, and the global online food delivery world is currently growing at about 10%.
All right, last one. Story number 5. How about this, Sean? A former interpreter for LA Dodgers baseball player Shohei Ohtani has been charged with bank fraud and accused of stealing more than $16 million from the athlete to make thousands of illegal sports bets.
So Mr. Ohtani's the hottest thing in baseball, being a pitcher and a hitter. He recently signed a $700 million contract with the LA Dodgers. A so-called close friend of the Dodgers superstar, Ippei Mizuhara, admitted to stealing from him by hijacking his account and impersonating him with bank staff to feed a voracious gaming habit. That's according to the US Justice Department and Internal Revenue Service. Now, there's absolutely no evidence that the 29-year-old pitcher authorised the transfers. However, what I find interesting is $16 million went from his account and he didn't realise.
That is extraordinary. There we go, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Monday, the 15th of April, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed Business News. Wherever you listen to podcasts, that also comes with a bunch of interviews and things. Today's interview is a great one for investors. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.